Welcome to Huddle Up, another special edition. We got a couple of excellent guests with us today. Steve Duranda is joining us as the co-host. And then we got Ron Johnson, three-time All-PSAC defensive end. In 2002, you graduated, right, Ron?
Yes.
And then joined the Philadelphia Eagles. So welcome aboard there, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, going to do a couple of plugs. We got to plug our sponsor, Maxie's. Maxie's sponsoring us, and we do appreciate that. Also want to hype the spring game coming up April 11th and 12th. And we got a lot going on that weekend, a lot of things happening. But one of the cool things is we're going to have our keynote speaker is Frank Van Buren. His book, Life Lessons from the Cockpit. And great running back, and ends up a helicopter pilot in the Army. And then now he's a very successful businessman. After yesterday, the Super Bowl was yesterday. I got to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl. What did you think of the game?
I don't think anybody expected that. I was kind of thinking it was going to be close to like within 3 or just one touchdown or something like that. But it was awesome to see. Of course, I'm a big defensive guy, play defensive end. I coach defensive line here locally where I'm at Red Lion High School. And it was awesome to just see the guys flying around to the ball, getting pressure. But honestly, just a well-balanced game on both sides of the ball and special teams. And hopefully the young players were watching and just listening and connecting the dots with what we say as coaches. But all phases, we really, really handed it to them. So I was excited. I was happy. We had a good time. We stayed up probably a little too late, but it was awesome to see that, man, just smiling from ear to ear.
Do you still have a lot of connections with the Eagles? Are you still involved in it all? You stay connected?
Yes. Yep. I still go to some of the games. Every now and then we'll have alumni stuff. I'm a member of the NFLPA Philadelphia chapter. So I go down to different events and network a little bit. And then I also go to the NFLPA summer getaways where there's workshops, seminars,
cool.
Get to hang out and connect with a lot of guys. So there's a lot of guys that I grew up watching that go to those things. So it's pretty cool to see some of the legends and then also some guys that are around my age or a little younger. But yeah, it's pretty good time.
Yeah, Ron, you had a great career on some good teams at Chip. What are some of the highlights of your playing days?
I think some of the highlights, just, I was a kid that I did not do that great in the classroom in high school. And I talk about this because it's important to me. I can't ever get that back, but the next best thing I can do is talk to kids about the importance of their academics. So I was kind of one of those kids that was Division I level, but really a lot of coaches just kind of turned their back on me once they saw my grades. I looked at junior colleges, I looked at Division II, different PSAC schools, and Coach Rocky Reese and Sean Spencer, they gave me an opportunity. They believed in me. I had to take a different route. I was a Prop 48, so I had to go to summer school. I had to prove that I even belonged in college, and just really put my head down and grind that first year, go to study hall, go to workouts, put good weight on. And all that just helped me become a man. But I can always thank Coach Reese for that, for helping me just get myself together and get back on the right track. But some of the memories are just some of the games that we had, the crew of guys that we had. I can talk about Phil Galliano for days as our safety. He's the one that really got us into just watching film and just knowing everybody's responsibility on the field. So as a redshirt freshman, just out on the field, hearing Phil behind us just call out everything, it made us all step our game up. But we had some great players, obviously a great coaching staff, but we had some awesome games. And at the time we were in the West. So, playing the IUPs, the Slippery Rocks, Cal PA, all that. I just tell kids and I tell parents, some of the kids that I coach, how awesome PSAC football is. And then look at how many guys have made it to the league, either drafted or undrafted. We have a pretty good reputation at SHIP, but also just PSAC level football. And I just want all of our kids to understand that. Don't look at Division I and think that's the only route. You got to understand there's so much football out there, but there's good opportunities, and you got to choose where you're going to play and get that opportunity, but also maximize hopefully going to school on a scholarship as well.
Nice. Yeah, it's Ron. I'm going to run a couple stats here because you had 158 total tackles. I see that, and 35 for loss, 18 sacks, which is still, I believe, in the top 10 for sacks. Uh, Pretty impressive numbers. And I know you were all PSAC twice, or three times. I'm sorry, three times. And you played for Rocky, and you talked about Rocky a little bit. How did he? Obviously, a great coach, had a lot of great teams. What was his impact on you, and what kind of coach was he?
The impact that he made on us was like as a dad, like as a father. I mean, he cared about us off the field, what we were doing. He cared about our grades, our academics, if we're treating people the right way, how we're carrying ourselves on campus, how we're talking to people. Um, but he just lit a fire up under us every week. Just leading up to the game, every game, he would build it up like it was just a championship game. And I remember as a redshirt freshman playing out at Slippery Rock, and we had a chance to win a ring and win the West. If we would have beat them, we would have won the West. But he built it up so much that week that, unfortunately we lost. So here I am as, a freshman, like a big baby out on the field crying as if it was the championship game. But that kind of shows how he really drew us and brought us in to make every game important as if it was a championship. And I think that's the right way to approach it. But I learned a lot from him, forever grateful for everything, that every opportunity he gave me. Um, he used to call me crazy legs because he used to say how fast I was and I could run. But he didn't take any crap from anyone either. So I remember one time I got into a scuffle. I think it was during spring ball, and I was probably a junior, something like that. I was a senior going into my senior year, and I got into a scuffle with somebody, and I threw my helmet, and he walked over and kicked my helmet, and he grabbed me and said, he kicked me out of practice. So then I apologized to him, and he said, "You know why I did that?" He said, "People look up to you. You're a leader. You can't act like that." He was like, "If you act like that, the rest of the guys on the team will start acting like that. But most importantly, you're a leader, and you have to conduct yourself as one. You're a great player, but you got to carry yourself as a professional, and you can't do that stuff." So I felt horrible that I did that. I think we've all had those moments during practice or something where we got a little heated
Oh yeah.
when you put the pads on. But I was upset for letting him down and upsetting him. I felt bad, so I apologize. But um, that's just another life lesson and a life skill that he taught me just from that situation. So I can go on for days about Coach Reese, but I was very thankful and blessed to have him as a coach.
He was a great guy. I mean, I didn't play for him, but every time I went back, he treated me like I did
Mhm.
for no reason whatsoever because he was a great guy. That was just him.
Yeah.
Um,
He taught us about family and, just sticking together, doing the right things, but also just shaping us as young men. Because what we've all graduated with was more than football. It was our education, but also the stories that we're sharing, sharing that with our family and our kids. It was just developing us into young, respectable men. So I take all that from him.
so you make it to the NFL, something that everybody strives for. You had a career-ending injury.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of guys would have given up. Talk about your effort to rehab and your journey to try to make it back.
I think, a cool story is Jim Monis was the scout for the Eagles who gave me my pro day. Just talking to some different NFL teams, there was interest. There was quite a buzz my senior year. But Mr. Jim Monis Jr. reached out to me, and I had my pro day locally, and I did really well on my testing, all my scores, and I impressed him. And we got to talking, and he said, "You didn't know this, but my dad told me I think there's a young special player out of Shippensburg, and I think you need to keep your eye on him because I think he's going to develop into a really good player." So the point of that story is I tell a lot of kids, you never know who's watching you. But here, Mr. Jim Monas Jr. was at our games every year, every time we played Bloom, and sometimes other schools that we would cross over and play in the East. but you never know who's watching. And the part of that I share with kids is, you're going to make mistakes, but if you're on the field, have good body language, be a good leader, pick people up when the what hits the fan and things aren't going your way. Be that leader to lift others up around you. So that's the type of player I was. And, I coming out of SHIP, I had to really work hard coming out of a small school to get that pro day, to get noticed, to get into training camp. The last name of the 2003 draft was called and it wasn't mine. I was a little upset. I was told I could go rounds 4 through 7. We just kind of waited around and the phone was not ringing from any of the teams that we had talked to. So got a little nervous, got a little down, but then the phone rang and it was Mr. Jim Monis and he said, "Hey, Ron, you still want to be an Eagle? Need you to get down here to Philly right away. We want you to sign as an undrafted rookie free agent." So get down to Philly, my head's spinning and, just learning on the fly, but everybody's fast, everybody's strong, everybody can move. And really at that point, it's who can work hard, but just outworking the guy beside you. So if a draft pick as a rookie doesn't want to jump in and play special teams, Coach Harbaugh said that's our first opportunity sometimes is you're going to be playing special teams before you play your actual position. So you had to embrace that. And coming out of, SHIP, didn't play a lot of special teams. But in practice, I listened to that and I'm out there on every special teams and I'm running down the field and just proving how hungry I was, that I wanted to be out there on Sunday. I didn't get to that level to be a practice dummy or a blocking dummy. I wanted to play on Sundays. So when you can see it, you can sniff it, you just work harder, you push yourself. But again, I reflect on, the 110s that SHIP, Coach Reese and those guys, we used to get kind of in our heads about it, like, man, this is tough, it's hot, but there's a reason why I would push through. And even when I felt like I was sick and I couldn't do it anymore, I just had that extra switch. But where did I learn that from was Coach Reese. Just pushing through the tough times and just being mentally tough. That helped me a lot just getting to the NFL. Those days where it was hot, I was tired in preseason, just outworking, out hustling, it really separates you from your competition. So I got to credit a lot of things that I learned, obviously, at SHIP with all the coaches, from my dad, my father. My dad passed away last year, but there's so much that I can take from him working 35 plus years at Caterpillar Tractor Company, just seeing him get up every day and grind and work hard and provide for me and my sisters and our whole family. But I had some great coaches. I had some great mentors, but I couldn't have asked for a better mentor than my father. But, I learned a lot. And when I got to the highest level, I feel like I was prepared, just not just physically, but also mentally. I was able to turn that switch on and perform.
I'm sure Rocky would be proud to hear you say that too, because it's kind of the same thing he did, same thing your dad did for you. That's a great message. I do have one follow up to that, which isn't on our list, Fran. So,
Sure.
but how has the the financial part of what you would discuss with kids 5 years ago changed now with this NIL? Before you might have been talking to them about, well, that money your parents save for college or whatever, you don't have to use that. But now it's almost absurd in
Yeah,
my eyes.
Yeah.
it's different. I remember I remember getting money on road trips. We got our little stipend, we got our little sandwiches on the bus, and you hopped on the bus and you were happy, right?
Right.
Thrilled.
Kids are getting so much money, they're getting cars, and I'm happy for these kids, but it's like, man, you look back and it's like, I wish we would have had that. Uh, but some of
Agreed.
our
Yeah.
campers, yeah, we were all happy with what we got. I'm not complaining about it. It's just, it was a different time, 25, 30 some years ago, right? Now
Well,
it's
Ron, nothing better than a 6 hour bus ride from Edinburgh, and you get to eat a hoagie and a Coke.
you get to watch 2 or 3 movies. I remember that.
We didn't have movies, Ron.
Well, that has helped shape all of us to who we are. It humbled us. You had to get on a bus and just do what you had to do, right?
Right.
Um, But at our camp, we've had kids who are playing Division I right now, high level. We have a kid at Clemson, Pitt, JMU. We have guys at different top schools like that who have attended camp, and then we also have a lot of guys who play Division II, Division III, junior college. We have some guys at trade schools as well. So um, the important part is, we'll bring in a bank or a sponsor to talk about NIL, talk about how to invest your money, save, budget, all those things. Now, some of our campers, they have those financial literacy classes in their high schools, but a lot don't. And I never had a financial literacy class in school, and I think that's why I incorporate it because, imagine you're coming out of Division II and you have what you're getting what we got. And you're 21, 22 years old, and all of a sudden you're signing a contract for $225,000 was an undrafted free agent contract in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
These guys now are making probably close to 750 or 800. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's closer to the 825 as a league minimum for undrafted free agents now. So even that shows that, if you've never had a financial literacy class, if you don't know how to write a check, if you don't know how to save, to budget, then all of a sudden you're a young athlete and you're making all this money. You got to have some guidance. So one thing is we have our sponsors come in and talk to all of our kids, whether you're going to play Division I, Division II, or Division III. There's a message for everybody to learn basic financial literacy skills, but also how to save so that you don't have to depend on mom and dad like we all did. It has changed quite a bit. And I think, these kids, it is a full-time job. It was a full-time job for us, Division II.
Right.
We did our classes and we took care of grades and our academics. We got to study hall, but even, the winter workouts, how many hours were we doing that before class and then going to practice? So it's a full-time job and these guys should be getting paid. I just feel that there needs to be, I don't want to say like a commissioner or something like that, but there needs to be a better hand on the wild, wild west here a little bit, especially at the Division I level, where guys are just kind of bouncing around and it's who's going to pay me more to go play at their school. That part's a little crazy right now.
What are some of the challenges that you see your rising stars facing as they try to continue with their football career? I know you mentioned a couple of them, but what else do you have to add to that?
Just doing the right things off the field. Make sure that you are just a good young man. You're treating people with respect at all times. It goes a long way. Working hard, lifting others up around you. If you see somebody struggling, lift that person up. If you see somebody having a bad day, try to lift that person up, that player up. But some of the challenges that we see are just picking the right school. That's best for them. We try to mentor as many of these kids as we can. We follow up with them. We do give scholarships to kids that might not have the financial resources or financial means to attend our camp. We stay in contact with those players, their coaches, their parents, their teachers, and we check in with those kids. But things are a lot different now than when we were in school. These kids have a lot of things with social media. There's different pressures going on with that, right? Everything's under a microscope for what you say, things you do, posting pictures and all that. That's another thing that we talk to kids about is that sometimes coaches may pull a scholarship offer because of something that they see, something that you said, somebody that you're with or around. Let's use the example of a red cup. Okay. If a high school player is posting a picture and they're hanging out with their friends and it's a red cup, you're probably not drinking water or apple juice or soda.
Yeah.
So be smart about what you do. And those are kind of the things that we're talking about. Don't be around people in pictures who people are smoking cigarettes, smoking whatever. Use your head. It's not that hard. Just use your head, do the right things, make good choices and wise decisions. we're not asking anybody to be perfect. We're just asking you to think before you do certain things.
Ron, I mean, give a plug to Rising Star here. I mean, it's funny because what you're, it's not funny, what you're saying here seems very different than some of the things I've heard from other programs like that. Like my kids were in AAU, and it was more about just maximizing the athlete, not really anything outside of that. So
Mhm.
talk, what level of kids are you working with? What ages? How do they reach out to you? I'm happy to throw your website up there or your domain to spread the word because it sounds like you're doing it the right way.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing our information. Our kids, it's a wide range. So we have multiple divisions. So we have some younger youth athletes all the way through like midget football, junior high, high school. Our oldest we go up to is upcoming seniors in high school, but we literally have that wide of a range. We bring in coaches that are best at coaching some of our younger athletes. We'll bring in coaches who are very good at coaching junior high, freshman level, JV level players. And then we got some top coaches around the state that come in and coach our varsity players. We open this up to everybody. So it's not invite only. It's not just elite. We have kids who are elite and kids that we can watch on every Saturday who have grown up through our program since they were like 10, 12 years old. And, about around the time of 11th, 12th grade, maybe that was their last time at camp, but they've graduated through our program. And then they go on to satellite showcases and things like that at some of the top schools like Penn State or Maryland, something like that. Um, but we have a wide range. And again, this is for players who are just starting to play, kids who are kind of in the middle and need a little bit more coaching, a little bit more guidance, a little bit more mentoring. Um, don't ever doubt a kid. And that's what I say to coaches and I say to parents, because some kids could be late bloomers. Some kids might be playing out of position, and then all of a sudden, because they grew, because they got stronger, they got taller, all of a sudden they mold into that position, you know. Um, I tell everybody I played every position except for quarterback at some point in my career, and I didn't play center, but I did play guard. I played tackle, tight end. I was a running back in high school and a wide receiver. Played safety, played linebacker. I played everywhere. But overall, that just helped me understand the game of football and everybody's responsibilities a lot more. So a kid at our camp, if they come in and the parent says, I want my son to be a quarterback, we're not going to disrupt that relationship with the parent. We're going to say that we may highly suggest, I think your son would be better off in this position because of our coaches and their expertise. Pretty good judge of talent and where kids belong in their position, but we're not out here to crush somebody's dreams either. So we get a lot of kids of all ages. This year our camp, this is year 17 for Rising Stars Football Academy. We have our camp at Millersville. This year is June 22nd through June 26th. And then something pretty cool that we're starting that is the first in the country. We're doing a girls flag football camp, and that's going to be June 26th through the 29th at Millersville University. And how we started that is I work with the Big 33, and I'm the director of camps, combines, and also girls flag football. But last year we put together an event for girls flag football all-star game. I worked with Bobby Taylor, one of my former teammates in Philly,
Yeah.
to really get that set off with us with the Big 33. So we had the Eagles, Steelers, Commanders, and Ravens who all sponsored the event and helped us select the girls to come in for the All-Star weekend.
Wow.
And what we saw with that is we saw some very high level talented female athletes. And these athletes were just awesome. And to see the fans that followed them, to see the energy and the excitement, what was awesome. But, pretty much we looked at it and said, there's no reason why we can't take our blueprint for what we do with our boys for the past 17 years and mirror that to also do this for female student athletes. So female student athletes right now are going on to school, to college, to receive scholarships to play girls flag football. I think everybody saw the Super Bowl commercials with it,
Oh
but
yeah. Yeah.
Flag football is really growing, and we wanted to be a part of that, but also have PA on a higher level. Um, and now it's a sanctioned sport by the PIAA. So you can see how the sport is really growing. But we're going to have our first ever girls flag football camp right after our boys camp this year. But our website is risingstarsfootballacademy.com. Parents can register on there, and you can find a lot of information and good content on the work that we do. But I thank all my coaches and all of our supporters, all of our sponsors. It wouldn't be possible without them. This is year 17 and we're going strong, but we're just trying to make a good impact on as many student athletes, both male and female, as we can, but trying to help them with their overall development.
Outstanding, man. Sounds like you're doing great work.
Thank you. We try. We try hard. We love it. You know, there's a small window in the summer to have camp. I wish we could do it all year long. But in the, say, like off season, this is where we really just try to work on our content, to try to educate our kids and reach out to good sponsors, bring good speakers in, former and current NFL players, to come in and share their story with our kids, just overcoming adversity, overcoming obstacles, but to talk about their careers too. Imagine, you're in high school or you're in junior high and you have people coming into your school to talk. When I was a kid, I kind of I didn't take that serious. I kind of was just happy to get out of class. And I wish I wasn't that way.
Yep.
I wish we had speakers come in and it really like opened up my eyes. So that we're trying to provide that experience for all of our campers, and something that that person might just say might hit home and inspire that youth to get into a new career or focus on trying to develop goals for themselves in the future.
Coach.
I agree. I agree 100%. The kids that are coming through your program, through your camps, have to be so fortunate. So
Yeah.
just keep up what you're doing. Everything you said is right on the money.
Coach Mack, has really made an effort to look at character, in the last couple recruiting classes. And he says it's a big thing. He's made a lot of changes based on that. He wants people of character. I would hope that you've got a pipeline to Mac. You get a stud athlete, you send him coach's way.
Yeah, Coach Mack was one of our coaches when I was at Ship. He was our secondary coach.
Yep.
I think my last 2 years being there. But Coach Mack made us tough, just on and off the field, in the weight room, just mentally being tough. Just on the field too, just playing for your brothers beside you and giving everything you have every single play. And if you can imagine all 11 guys just giving everything they have, the best effort, that's quite a team. Just having that energy and that drive, to give your best, to do everything you can till it felt like you had nothing left in your gas tank when you got home. you know. And always, just one of my favorite things that Coach Mack used to say, that, this is the only place in the world you can get away with kicking somebody's ass.
That's
and
right on
it's
point,
true.
man.
It's, that would flip a switch. So, you run out of the locker room and that's in your head, how can't you start the game with just high energy and high level and, just flying around like your hair is on fire and making plays out there. So, just overall thankful for all the coaches I had the opportunity to have at Chip, and just what they instilled in us as players, but also young men, because we now are sharing some of those same messages with our kids. Sometimes you laugh because you think, like, where did I get that? I got that from, my coaches up at Ship. But it's cool. It's cool to see what it has, how we have all developed and the careers paths that we have all taken. My teammates, I couldn't ask for better teammates. Stay connected with a lot of guys, and we stay connected and we're still all learning from each other, but checking in on each other too, to make sure everybody's all right, doing okay, and trying to get together sometimes. And there's a lot of stories that we all have and can share with each other.
Great job, man. Well, next week we're going to have two of your teammates. We're going to have John Kuhn on, and we're going to have Dan Walsh. And,
Okay.
yeah, but we appreciate your time, Ron. You got a great program, man, and continued success. Steve, thanks for joining us today.
Yep. Ron, great
And-
job. Fran, good job.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, and appreciate you guys having me on here. And I think it's awesome what you guys do, because it helps us all reconnect sometimes, guys that we haven't talked to in a while, and we're learning about guys who have played before us and laid the path for what this really means as far as family at SHIP.
Dude, we got to get you to the spring game. Come up for our reunion.
Yep. I try to make it.
All right, man. Well, thanks
All
a
right.
lot again.
Thank
Everybody
you guys.
take care.
Have a good night.
Yep.
All right.